Today, we're diving into what is, without a doubt, the single most important biological process on our planet. It's this silent, invisible engine that powers pretty much everything that lives and breathes. Yep, we're talking about photosynthesis.
And when I say it powers nearly all life, I am not exaggerating. Just look at this number, 99%. That's the massive slice of Earth's ecosystems that runs entirely on energy captured through photosynthesis. So to put that in perspective, every forest, every single ocean, almost every living thing you can possibly think of, it's all part of this gigantic solar-powered network. The scale is just staggering.
So how does that energy actually get around? Well, let's follow the path. It all starts with the sun, obviously. That light travels 93 million miles to Earth, where it gets snagged by a plant. Then maybe a deer comes along and eats that plant. And finally, when a wolf eats that deer, it's getting energy that literally began as a photon of light from the sun. Every single link in the food chain leads right back here.
So in this explainer, here's what we've got lined up. First, we'll talk about why it's Earth's ultimate power source. Then, we'll go inside the green machine itself. After that, we'll check out the sun's simple recipe, look at its two-step assembly line, and finally, we'll connect it all to the sunlight sitting right on your supermarket shelf.
Okay, so let's start with that big picture view, how this one single process manages to capture the raw energy of the sun and use it to keep life on this planet going.
At its very core, this is what we're talking about. Photosynthesis is the only biological process out there that can grab energy from sunlight and convert it into stable chemical energy. You know, it's not like a lizard just warming up in the sun. This is about actually locking that energy away into sugar molecules to be used later. It's a total game changer.
And this creates this really basic split in the living world. On one side, you've got your producers, the self-feeders like plants and algae. They're the ones making their own food using sunlight. And on the other side, well, that's where we come in. We're the consumers, the other feeders. We can't make our own food from sunlight, which means we are 100% dependent on the energy that those producers create for us.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's figure out where all this magic happens. We're going to zoom way in and take a look inside the plant's incredible green machinery. So if you could shrink down and look inside a leaf, you'd find this middle layer called the mesophyll. This is ground zero for photosynthesis. Now, to get its ingredients, the leaf has to breathe in carbon dioxide, and it does that through these tiny little pores called stomata. They're like little mouths, and they have these two guard cells on either side that open and close them to control how much gas gets in, and crucially, to make sure the plant doesn't lose too much water. Now, let's zoom in even further, down to the real powerhouse, the chloroplast. Inside this tiny factory, you can see these stacks of little green discs, right? Each one of those discs is called a thylakoid, and that is where the green pigment, chlorophyll, actually captures the sunlight. A whole stack is called a granum, and all these stacks are just floating around in this fluid called the stroma. Now remember those two names, thylakoids and stroma, because they are the exact locations for the two key stages of photosynthesis. All right, we've toured the factory. Now let's check out the recipe. What are the raw materials going in, and what are the finished products coming out? It's time for the sun's surprisingly simple recipe. And when you lay it all out, it really is beautifully simple. The plant takes in three basic things: sunlight for the energy, carbon dioxide from the air, and water, usually from the soil. And what does it make? Well, it makes energy-rich sugars, like glucose, and as this amazing little byproduct that we kind of need to live, oxygen.
And here it is, translated into the language of chemistry. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water plus a little light energy gives you 1 molecule of glucose, that's the sugar, and 6 molecules of oxygen. This one simple-looking equation is the chemical foundation for basically every food web on the entire planet. But don't let its simplicity fool you. The actual process is a pretty sophisticated two-part operation.
Right, so here's a really crucial point. This whole conversion doesn't just happen in one go. It's actually a brilliant two-part process. Think of it like a biochemical assembly line with two distinct stages. So, stage 1 is called the light-dependent reactions. This all goes down in those thylakoid discs we talked about. This is where sunlight gets captured and its energy is converted into these tiny, rechargeable chemical batteries, molecules called ATP and NADPH. Then you have stage 2, the light-independent reactions. This happens out in that fluid, the stroma. It takes the power from those batteries it just charged up and uses it to grab carbon dioxide and build it into a stable, long-term energy source, sugar.
All right, let's zoom all the way back out now.
We've gone from the whole ecosystem down to the atomic level. But how does this ancient process actually connect to you right now? Well, you'd be amazed how much of it you can find just sitting on a supermarket shelf.
Just let that sink in for a second. The energy that we get from burning fossil fuels, the stuff that powers our cars and our cities, is literally ancient sunlight. It was captured by plants hundreds of millions of years ago, buried and turned into fuel, and we're just now releasing it. That is the unbelievable, long-lasting power of photosynthesis.
And that brings us right back to your shopping cart. That steak, or that carton of milk, the energy in it came from the grass the cow ate. The bread stored sunlight from a field of wheat. Sugar, obviously, is one of its most direct products. Heck, even the paper bag you're carrying it all in, or some newer plastics, can trace their origins right back to this one incredible process.
So you see, it all connects. The very same process that filled the air with oxygen for the first animals and fed the dinosaurs is the one that stocks our grocery stores, and for the time being, fuels our cars. And that really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? If we've been running our entire modern world on ancient stored sunlight, what new ways are we going to find to capture the sun's energy to power our future?